This is what we are. This is not what we are. A goal setter, for example, because it's the mentee who sets their goal. We're not imposing the goals we believe are fine to the mentee. It's his or her choice. Here, protector and guardian, the American way. We're not psychologists, we're not counselor. Although we do counseling, we're not counselors. We don't deal with psychological issues. We're not contacts in the sense that we give the contact, but we're not responsible for the person. We, again, empower the person. So, informal mentoring is untrained mentors. Formal, there's a supervision. There's an initial and ongoing training. That's what you guys are doing. And you will strengthen your skills as mentors through practice. Because you'll find at the beginning it's very difficult because it's a complete different mindset. You're not judging, you're listening. And I can guarantee, if you've already done it, but 1 hour mentoring session, how do you feel after 1 hour mentoring session? Tired. Very tired. You listen. So, you listen to what the person is telling you. You elaborate on what the person is saying. And you stop. You paraphrase whatever that person has told you to be sure you understood what the person is saying. Because remember, and here we have cultural and language barriers for us. Remember that what Frank is telling me, and he's 100% sure of what he's telling me, I might understand it my own way. And 80% of what he actually means. So imagine in a mentoring relationship with a guy who's 30 years younger than you, well, 20 years younger than you, who has a different background. Okay, so Samuel, yes, very good that you have questions, but it's an exercise of making that person finish the sentences, pausing, rephrasing, just to understand that you understood. And then asking questions. It's very, very difficult. It's mind-blowing, it's time-consuming. You feel fatigued at the end of the session. Because it's you don't have anything around. You cannot look at your mobile. You need to pay attention 100%. And if you lose a second, you just lost the whole interpretation of the sentence. But these are 31 skills that have been developed that every mentor should have. For example, let me read them out loud. Ability to learn. Understand the role of the mentor. You're not teachers, you're mentors. You're not officers, you're mentors. Understand the phases of a mentoring relationship. We're going to see it shortly. Mamma mia. Ability to adapt. Understand your values. Ability to consider diversity. Understand the mentor's boundaries and the relation of confidentiality. Very important. Ability to remain in the professional relationship. This falls within the boundary. Ability to use new technologies. Emotional intelligence, how you use your emotions smartly. Ability to establish good relationships. Manage the relationship. Plan the action and define objectives. Solve problems. Mediate and manage bottlenecks. You might be stuck with your mentee. Okay. I expired all my questions. I don't know what to ask. What do you do? Think about it. It's a skill. What do you do? I think I can talk about myself. I can mention an experience. Maybe other questions comes out. There are books and a lot of literature on the art of asking good questions. Questions need to be open, bring reflection, bring thinking, positive critical thinking. To manage meetings. We have 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. We need to keep it to 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. It cannot go beyond 2 hours, 3 hours, otherwise it's not a mentoring session. Storytelling, ability to listen, to manage, to communicate, formulate questions, give and receive feedback, that's very important. Use new technologies. Attitude for advising, acknowledge and value results and objectives met. Terminate a mentoring relationship. Evaluate. Know the career paths of a professional area. Ability to get approval, have charisma, interpersonal skills, coaching and pedagogical skills. If you're not judgmental, if you're not saying what I did was right and what you did was wrong, you don't get any offenses. Okay, that's the trick, but that's very difficult.
Well, it's hard to stop thinking that.
Exactly. But this is why we're getting this training. Because it's a switch, it's a mindset change. It's a change of approach. It's not easy. And yes, we need to like our mentees. We need to have it needs to be a pleasure. It needs to be a pleasure. Because otherwise it doesn't click. There's no chemistry. The chemistry helps us understand if, yes, I want Maggie as my mentee. Because Maggie wants me as her mentor. It can also be the case that the mentor doesn't like the mentee. Yeah?
Yes.
It can be changed. I can go to the supervisor as a mentor and say, you know, I have Joanna, but we don't get along too well. The supervisor says, okay, let me put you with somebody else who has a similar profile, who has, similar values. This is why it's important, the self-description for both the mentor and the mentee when you start the matching. Okay, in a mentoring project, organized mentoring project, you might have 6 to 9 months. You can have, for example, minimum 6 meetings, 6 sessions, up to whatever. Okay, so you build your relationship based on the time you have available. Okay, but we see it now. So this is the mountain, the mentoring mountain, the M&M. Mentoring mountain. So imagine the mentoring relationship as a mountain, a hill. Imagine hiking on this hill. You start with building relationship. And this part, so these two axes are, one is tempo, time. The other one is learning intensity and added value. So the higher the intensity, the higher the period, the phase, the higher the intensity. So we start with building the relationship, getting to know each other. After the matching, we like each other. Okay, let's find out what we can work on, what are your passions, your values, and we set things straight, guys. Okay, so our relationship is based on mutual trust, on understanding, confidentiality. We reach your objective, the mentee's objective. We have boundaries. For example, you can even say, in this case, the mentoring relationship is online. But for example, if you have a choice, you can even say, we can meet offline. We can meet at the bar. We can meet at school. Sharing the WhatsApp number, yes or no? It depends. You guys choose, you and your mentee. And you put it in writing. And at the end, you have it signed. What happens if the boundaries, if what happens if the rules are broken, you don't pay a fine, but the relationship ends because there's no longer mutual trust that allows us to have that kind of relationship. Okay? So this is very important because it's building, again, the heart of a mentoring project, the relationship. Then, setting direction, and you have different instruments to do that. Setting direction, okay, where do we want to go from here? What do you want to reach? Do you want to find your way? What are your challenges? Oh, I'm very shy. I am afraid to say no. I'm very anxious. I don't know what to do in life. And then you fragment the huge objective in micro and meso objective. So every meeting you ensure that you add a little piece of the puzzle to the overall objective. Okay? So you see the intensity rises. Then you have the longest phase, the progression. This is where you develop a stronger relationship. This is where you work on the goals. This is where you dig into the problems, you talk about values, you develop the learning contents. You talk about values, personal skills, your wishes, your passions, your fears. We'll see it later, the learning content later. And then, like when you reach the top of a mountain, when you see the cross, you know, and then there's when you're getting down, you're going back to the hill from the mountain. It's even more dangerous than the way up, to climb your way down, because you might risk your knees, you might risk your ankles. Who's a hiker here? The way down is more difficult than the way up, because then you risk injuries. So here is winding up. Is, okay, now you reached your goal, how can I unloose the screws? Now you go on your own, you become independent. This is the phase when the mentee is still semi-dependent, but less and less and less and less. Until here, moving on. Okay, now you bike alone and you reach new territories. Okay, so you see here the stretch of time, the difference in time. So the majority, let's say if it's 8 sessions, this could be 1 or 2, this could be 1 or 2, this could be 4, this could be 3, this could be 2, for example. Okay, and you have tools for each phase of this. Goal setting and action plan. This is very, very, very important. Have you ever seen this? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. To learn it by heart, like the Salve Regina. Santa Maria, Madre di Dio. Okay. Smart. If you give smart objectives, you're sure you'll have a successful mentoring relationship. For instance, I always mention this example. So, specific, misurable, no, this is, yeah, sorry, it was midnight yesterday. Sorry. Measurable, achievable, realistic, time-based, time-bound, okay? Is this a smart objective?
No. It's an objective, but it's just not smart.
But it's not that the objective can be specific but not measurable. It needs to meet all 5 features. For example, the mentoring relationship lasts 6 months. So, in 6 months' time, I will have said no in at least 1 meeting a month. So 6 times. because we have weekly meetings. So we'll have 24 meetings in total. Out of the 4 monthly meetings, out of 1, I will have said no. So, is it specific? Yes. Is it measurable?
Yes.
Yes. Is it achievable?
Yes.
Is it impossible?
Is realistic? Yes.
What is the difference between achievable and realistic? Or realistic, what's the price to pay?
Yeah.
What's the price to pay? The environment, the ecology of the R of realistic, okay? Because it can be achievable, but I can run the marathon in 3 months' time, but I need to train 5 times a week. And where's my job? Where are my kids? Where's my whatever yoga class? I need to sacrifice something. So is it realistic? Okay, so this is very important. Yeah, I want to run a marathon. Okay, but if it's February and the marathon, the Rome Marathon is in March, no can do in a month, with the conditions that I have at the moment. But if now it's May, marathon in March, if I train, if I set aside the time, so this is something the mentor might want to work on with the mentee. So how often do you need to train to prepare yourself for the marathon? That's another question. You're not telling them you need to train 3 times a week. Yeah. You're telling them how much time do you need to train? What shifts here? It's the mentee who's responsible. It's the mentee who understands that if he trains twice a week, it might not be enough. So he might need more time, but it's the mentee who decides. That's the magic. Okay, it's difficult, it's complex, not difficult, but it takes a mind shift to let him develop. We live in a very prescriptive world. When we listen to TV programs, when everyone doesn't listen, they talk over each other, they are prescriptive, they give the wrong advice. So it's just, let's clear this out. Let's change mentality completely.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes?
Maybe a little bit on topic.
So objectives can be near or far, near in time or in space, far time or space, concrete or abstract. Concrete can be something like I want to build a house, abstract I want to be able to say no, which actually translates in a concrete actions, but it's an abstract idea. To obtain, to avoid. Try to mentor yourselves, your inner self, whenever you have an important decision to make. Has it ever occurred to you to say the things that you don't want before the things that you actually want to achieve? That's very useful. Okay, this summer plans. I want to go, I don't know. Where don't I want to go? I don't want to go to this and this and that because it's too expensive, then this and that. And you select. You take out. So you have choices. Performance learning. So do you want to reach results, performance, or do you want to learn overall? 2 different ways. Okay, so feedback. I don't know about you guys, but in Italy, feedback is something hot. It's a hot topic because feedback is highly hated by people. We are afraid to receive. So what is it? Feedback is feedback information. Information of return is understanding what has been said. It is useful as a growth tool. A growth tool. It could be planned. So like your boss gives you, your supervisor gives you monthly feedback on how things are going. It could be a morning meeting, it could be a weekly meeting, or impromptu, like on the spot, after a situation, I'll give you feedback. Involuntary versus voluntary. Okay? It's like when you tell me something, you're like, this is involuntary feedback. and unfortunately, I do that very often. I'm not good at masking. Voluntary, I'm willing to tell you, to give you my feedback. Positive and negative. Actually, when feedback is given in a constructive manner, it's never negative. Even if I want to communicate something negative. Like, your presentation sucked. You can tell me, in other words. A mentor is a person that knows how to deal with words. Words, in Italian there's a movie by Carlo Erdone, by one famous director, and there's a very popular guy who's a truck driver, and who says, this hand can be a feather and can be a stone. Okay? Sarano può essere ferro, può essere più. Can be iron and it can be a feather. And this is the same with words. You can really hurt somebody by using the wrong words and please somebody, or even say the same exact thing using two kinds of words. When my partner tells me, Ale, I need to tell you something, you know what I say? Tell me gently. killing me softly, you know? Tell me gently. Like, because I know that he hits me because it's very, constructive criticism, but at the same time, okay, you can criticize me, but do it with the right words that don't hurt. So, why do we tend not to give negative feedback? And I promise just a few minutes more and then we're off, because I know we're all tired.
500 euros.
Sorry?
Huh?
500 euros? Okay, these are some of the prejudice. So I don't want to offend him. This is why we don't give feedback. I don't want to offend him. I don't have time. No, why? Why do I give him feedback? I don't have time for that. I already know his reaction. Imagine, for each point, imagine yourself in that situation if that has ever occurred to you. Nothing would change. I don't know how to tell him, her, again, the use of words. It's none of my business. I don't want to make enemies. So let me tell you an example. I had a colleague of mine who was very, very good at presentations, but he would mumble. Oh, Jude, that was but I couldn't tell him, David, you must not do, it's very annoying. So I went to him and I said, David, can I tell you something? I asked permission. Your presentation was very, very good, but I noticed you tend to mumble oftentimes. If you pay attention, I think the presentation might flow better if you try to avoid or work on those noises. Did I hurt him? Did I offend him? I worked on the situation, not on the person. And we were friends. So it could work. If you use the right word. It's more thought of. We're talking here today, guys, because it's things that we need to work on. We're so used of having, again, direct people, the quicker you reply, the stronger you are. Not true. Not. He might expect it every time. Not true. Not true. It's based on our own judgment.
Yeah.
It might be pleasant for a boy to tell him, well done. But it also might be pleasant for a 50-year-old to say, hey, well done. Some people need it. We all need it, actually. We all need it. Well done. Well done. You've been flying since 4 in the morning. You woke up at 2 a.m. for being here. Well done, guys. You're motivated enough. Nice. Let's be nice to each other, after all, no? He could misunderstand, especially between man and woman. Oh, you look so pretty. What do you want from me? I don't know how to tell him, her. That's the same of last time. I don't know how to tell him. Well, I really appreciate the passion you put in your presentation. Is it difficult? Not really. He knows I appreciate her job anyway. It's like husband and wife. When the wife says, or the husband says, everything I do is for granted. A word of appreciation. Again, let's be kind to each other. That's a positive feedback. To give, like, your mom, thank you. Like, I want my kids to say thank you and please with me and with anyone.